Researchers at a major university published a finding so alarming that it was quietly ignored by mainstream media because it threatened an entire industry of expensive supplements and prescription drugs. What they discovered was this: the single most powerful window to protect your aging muscles is not at the gym, not at the pharmacy, and not at the dinner table. It is within the first 30 minutes of waking up, and almost nobody is using it correctly. If you are over 50 or you love someone who is, stay with me for the next few minutes because what you are about to hear could genuinely add years of strength, independence, and quality of life. Before we go further, I would love to know where in the world you are watching this from. Drop your country in the comments right now. We have viewers joining from so many places around the globe, and I read every single comment. And if you are new here, please consider helping us reach our first 1,000 subscribers. It costs you nothing but a single click, and it means everything to this channel. Hit subscribe, and let's build this community together. Now, back to what science is telling us, because this is important and most people will never hear it explained this way. There is a condition called sarcopenia. The word comes from Greek, sarx, meaning flesh, and penia, meaning loss, muscle loss. And it is happening inside your body right now, whether you feel it or not. After the age of 30, the human body begins losing between 3 and 5% of its muscle mass every single decade. That sounds manageable until you do the math. By 60, you could have lost 15 to 20% of the muscle you had in your prime. By 70, the numbers become even more uncomfortable. And here is what makes sarcopenia genuinely dangerous. It does not announce itself. There is no pain at first, no obvious symptom. You simply feel a little more tired than you used to. Stairs feel slightly harder, grocery bags feel heavier. You chalk it up to getting older, but that is the thief working quietly in the background. The consequences of ignoring it are severe. Sarcopenia dramatically increases your risk of falls and fractures. And for older adults, a single serious fall can be life-changing. It slows your metabolism, making weight management harder. It reduces bone density, weakens your immune response, and according to research published in the Journal of Cachexia, Sarcopenia, and Muscle, it is directly associated with higher rates of cardiovascular disease and early mortality. This is not a cosmetic issue. This is a survival issue. But here is the turn that changes everything, and why I want you to stay for every second of this video. Sarcopenia is not inevitable. Your body retains the biological machinery to build and protect muscle tissue at 60, 70, and even beyond. What it needs is the right input, at the right time, in the right form. And scientists have now identified a handful of specific compounds that work synergistically, meaning they work far better together than they do alone, to protect muscle, fight inflammation, and restore the kind of functional strength that gives you your independence back. And the most surprising delivery system for all of these? Your morning cup of coffee. Not because coffee is magic, but because of what you can add to it. And because the morning window, when cortisol is naturally elevated, metabolism is ramping up, and your cells are hungry for fuel, is biologically the optimal time to deliver these nutrients. Let me walk you through 8 specific additions, starting from the foundational and building toward the genuinely transformative. The first addition is one you probably already have in your kitchen, and it costs almost nothing: cinnamon. But before you dismiss this as too simple, understand what is actually happening at the cellular level when you consume it. Cinnamon contains a compound called cinnamaldehyde, which activates pathways that improve insulin sensitivity. A clinical study published in Diabetes Care found that cinnamon supplementation improved insulin sensitivity by up to 29% in participants. Why does that matter for your muscles? Because insulin is the hormone that escorts amino acids, the building blocks of muscle, into your muscle cells. When insulin sensitivity is poor, your muscles become starved even when you are eating enough protein. Cinnamon essentially unlocks the door. Add half a teaspoon to your morning coffee. Use Ceylon cinnamon specifically. It contains far lower levels of coumarin, a compound that in high doses can stress the liver. One small distinction, but it matters over time. The second addition is pure unsweetened cocoa powder. Not a flavored mix, not a sweetened drink, but raw, dark cocoa. What makes cocoa remarkable is its concentration of flavanols, a class of plant-based compounds that have been studied extensively for their effects on vascular function. A landmark study from Columbia University found that cocoa flavanols significantly improved memory and cognitive function in older adults. But the muscle connection is equally powerful. Better blood flow means more oxygen delivered to working muscles, faster clearance of metabolic waste products, and significantly reduced post-exercise soreness. For anyone over 50 who avoids exercise because it hurts the next day, this is directly relevant to you. Add 1 to 2 tablespoons to your coffee. It deepens the flavor beautifully, and it gives your cardiovascular system something meaningful to work with every single morning. The third addition is coconut oil, or more precisely, the medium-chain triglycerides, MCTs, it contains. Here's what makes MCTs fundamentally different from almost every other dietary fat. They are absorbed directly by the liver and converted almost immediately into ketones, a clean, efficient fuel source for both the brain and muscle tissue. Unlike long-chain fats, MCTs do not require bile acids for digestion and do not get stored in adipose tissue under normal conditions. For older adults, this means a quick, sustained energy source that does not spike blood sugar and does not leave you crashing an hour later. Research from the British Journal of Nutrition found that MCT supplementation in older adults helped preserve lean muscle mass during periods of reduced activity. Start with 1 teaspoon. Some people work up gradually to a tablespoon. It gives your coffee a naturally creamy texture, and the energy it provides is unlike anything from caffeine. It is smooth, clean, and lasting. Now we enter what I think of as the critical tier, the 4 additions that move from supporting muscle health to actively rebuilding it. Pay close attention here, because this is where most people are leaving enormous results on the table. Addition 4 is something you may have seen advertised everywhere recently, but likely do not understand as deeply as you should. Collagen protein. Collagen is the most abundant structural protein in the human body. It is the scaffolding inside your joints, tendons, ligaments, skin, and muscle fascia, the connective tissue that wraps around your muscles and holds everything in place. Here is the problem. Starting around age 40, your body's natural collagen synthesis declines by approximately 1% per year. That means by 60, you have lost roughly 20% of your structural protein production. The result is stiff, aching joints, reduced range of motion, and muscles that cannot generate force effectively because their connective tissue framework is compromised. A 2019 study published in the British Journal of Nutrition found that when older men took collagen peptides combined with resistance training, they gained significantly more muscle mass than the group that trained without collagen supplementation. The mechanism appears to be collagen's role in stimulating specific growth factors within connective tissue. Look for hydrolyzed collagen peptides. They are pre-broken down for maximum absorption, dissolve completely in hot liquid, and are essentially tasteless. Add 1 scoop, around 10 to 15 grams, directly to your coffee. You will not notice it is there, but your joints will begin telling you something has changed within 4 to 6 weeks. Addition 5 is where we enter serious territory. Whey protein. And I want to be direct with you here, because there is a lot of noise around supplements and I want to cut through it. Of everything I am about to mention, if you only make one change, one single addition to your morning coffee, make it this. Whey protein is a complete protein derived from dairy, and it contains all 9 essential amino acids your body cannot manufacture on its own. But what makes whey particularly powerful for aging muscles is its leucine content. Leucine is the amino acid that acts as the primary trigger for muscle protein synthesis, the biological process by which your body actually builds new muscle tissue. A comprehensive meta-analysis published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition reviewed 18 clinical trials and concluded that whey protein supplementation in older adults led to statistically significant increases in lean muscle mass and physical performance. The research suggests that older adults actually require more leucine per dose than younger people to trigger the same anabolic response, which is why getting adequate, high-quality protein becomes increasingly critical with age, not less. Add 20 to 25 grams, 1 scoop, of unflavored or mildly flavored whey protein to your morning coffee. If you exercise, Time it within 30 minutes after your workout. If you do not exercise yet, and I hope that changes, take it with breakfast. Blend it well. This single habit, sustained consistently, may be the most powerful thing you do for your physical longevity. Addition 6 is turmeric, and specifically the compound within it called curcumin. Curcumin has been studied in over 3,000 peer-reviewed papers. That is not a marketing claim. That is a documented scientific record. And what those studies reveal consistently is that curcumin is one of the most potent natural inhibitors of inflammatory pathways in the human body. It suppresses NF-kappa B, a protein complex that acts as a master switch for inflammation. It reduces levels of C-reactive protein and interleukin-6, two of the most reliable biomarkers of chronic inflammation. Why does this matter for muscle? Because chronic low-grade inflammation, the kind that does not hurt acutely but smolders in the background, is now understood to be one of the primary drivers of accelerated muscle wasting in older adults. A study in the Journal of the International Society of Sports Nutrition found that curcumin supplementation reduced delayed onset muscle soreness by up to 48% and improved functional recovery between exercise sessions. Less soreness means more willingness to stay active. More activity means more muscle preservation. It is a virtuous cycle, and curcumin helps start it. Add half a teaspoon of turmeric powder to your coffee, and this is critical. Add a pinch of black pepper alongside it. Black pepper contains piperine, a compound that increases curcumin's bioavailability by up to 2,000%. Without piperine, most of the curcumin passes through your system without being absorbed. One pinch of pepper changes everything about its effectiveness. Addition 7 is one that people frequently overlook because it seems too ordinary: milk, or a high-protein dairy alternative. But the science behind this mundane addition is anything but ordinary. Muscle and bone are not separate systems. They are deeply interdependent. Weak bones create instability. Instability leads to reduced movement, and reduced movement accelerates muscle loss. Calcium is the primary mineral responsible for bone density, and adequate dietary calcium, not just from supplements, but from food sources that come with cofactors for absorption, remains one of the most important nutritional habits for anyone past middle age. A single cup of whole or low-fat milk provides approximately 300 milligrams of calcium, alongside 8 grams of high-quality protein, vitamin D, vitamin B12, and phosphorus. If dairy does not work for you, choose a fortified, protein-rich plant alternative, but read the label carefully. Many popular plant milks contain less than 1 gram of protein per serving, which makes them essentially useless for this purpose. You want at least 6 to 8 grams per serving. Add a quarter cup to half a cup to your coffee every morning. It is simple, economical, and foundational. And now, addition 8, the base itself. Black coffee. Because none of the previous 7 ingredients operate in a vacuum, they are all being delivered by, and interacting with, one of the most studied substances in nutritional science. Coffee contains over 1,000 biologically active compounds, and the research on its long-term effects is overwhelmingly positive for healthy adults. The antioxidants in coffee, chlorogenic acid, caffeic acid, and others, directly neutralize free radicals that damage muscle cell membranes. A comprehensive review in the Annals of Internal Medicine found that habitual moderate coffee consumption was associated with significantly lower risk of type 2 diabetes, neurodegenerative disease, and cardiovascular mortality. For muscle performance specifically, caffeine improves neuromuscular efficiency, the speed and force with which your nervous system activates muscle fibers, by 11 to 12% on average. That means your existing muscles work harder and more effectively when caffeine is present. 2 to 4 cups of coffee daily appears to be the optimal range for most adults. Beyond that, cortisol, the stress hormone that actually breaks down muscle tissue, begins to rise. So, more is not better. Quality and consistency matter more than quantity. Drink your enhanced coffee with or after a small meal whenever possible. This buffers cortisol, improves absorption of the protein and fat-soluble compounds, and prevents the blood sugar instability that can follow caffeine on an empty stomach. Now, let me give you a practical framework because the goal is not to overwhelm you. It is to empower you. You do not need to start with all 8 additions tomorrow. Begin with black coffee plus whey protein. That alone is a transformation. After 1 week, add turmeric with black pepper. After another week, introduce collagen peptides. Then layer in cinnamon, cocoa, MCT oil, and milk as you feel comfortable. Build your formula slowly, let your body adapt, and pay attention to how you feel, because you will feel the difference. The science behind each of these ingredients is solid. The mechanism by which they work together is additive and, in several cases, synergistic. Whey protein provides the raw material for muscle building. Leucine triggers the synthesis process. Collagen repairs the connective scaffolding. Curcumin suppresses the inflammation that would otherwise undo your progress. MCTs provide the clean fuel your muscles need to stay active. Cinnamon ensures your cells can use that fuel efficiently. Cocoa keeps blood flowing, so nutrients actually arrive where they are needed, and coffee amplifies every physical effort you make. This is not a magic drink. There is no such thing. What this is a deliberate science-backed nutritional strategy that costs far less than most supplements, requires almost no extra time, and works with something you are likely already doing every single morning. The cumulative effect of consistent small improvements is not linear. It is exponential. A body that receives the right inputs every day for weeks and months becomes measurably different from one that does not. Muscle is the organ of longevity. That is not a metaphor. It is how leading geriatric researchers now describe it. Your muscle mass determines your metabolic health, your immune resilience, your ability to recover from illness, and ultimately, your independence. Protecting it is not vanity, it is strategy. And the morning is where that strategy begins. Subscribe to this channel if you want to keep receiving content like this. Evidence-based, clearly explained, and genuinely useful for living stronger at every age. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it, and start tomorrow morning with intention. Your strength is not behind you. It is waiting for you to claim it.